Welcome to the Legacy Podcast, making our Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) more famous for action. Poverty is not just a statistic in the United Nations reports, it is the reason a talented student drops out, why a brilliant entrepreneur never starts, and why a family chooses between medicine and a meal. By turning these global goals into household habits, you move from action paralysis to action progress. At TLP, we believe that the global gap is just a lack of local context. Most people think poverty is a story about a lack of money. At TLP, we want to let you know it's actually a story about a lack of choice. I am your host, United Nations Mom, and I'm so glad you are here. Today's legacy will be to talk about the first sustainable development goal, the no poverty goal, for you to grab your knowledge, discover your role, and do your action. Now, here is the deal. When we talk about end poverty in all its forms everywhere, we are not just talking about a distant statistics or a far away land. We are talking about the student who has to choose between data for their classes or a meal for the night. We are talking about the entrepreneur whose brilliant idea dies because they don't have a bank account to receive funding, so to say. Today, we are going to be closing the global gap. We are taking the massive, intimidating blueprints of the United Nations and bringing it home to your kitchen table, your classroom, and your boardroom for us together to redesign the system that creates poverty in the first place. You should move beyond the idea that poverty is simply a lack of cash. Let the knowledge you gain today be the antidote to your action paralysis towards the SDGs no poverty. When it is said end world poverty, it feels so much impossible. But when you hear it in a pattern as this, ensure 5 families in my supply chain have health insurance, it becomes a doable possible habit. To truly understand SDG 1, that's the no poverty, you have to look at it through three different lenses. Most people only see the first one. Number one, absolute or extreme poverty. What this means is when you are surviving on less than $3 per day. This reality is literally about survival. It means you cannot meet basic physiological needs like clean water, shelter, clothing, or calories for your body, good food. We often think this absolute poverty is somewhere else, but extreme poverty also exists in wealthy nations among the homeless or undocumented. Now, I'll talk more of underdeveloped or developing nations. Number two, relative poverty. This is living on significantly less than the average income in your society or in your nation, the minimum wage. This is about social exclusion. For example, if everyone in your city has a smartphone for school and you don't, you are relatively poor because you are excluded from the tools of your society. This is one of the reasons why your household habits towards the sustainable development goals matter, because by advocating for digital equity, you are positioning to fight relative poverty. Number three, multidimensional poverty. This is the most important knowledge for a professional. For example, the United Nations and the United Nations Development Program (UNDP) use the Multidimensional Poverty Index (MPI) because poverty is a web of deprivations. For example, a person can be having or earning a living wage or an income but still be multidimensionally poor if they live in an area with no clean water or no schools, which are also among the standards of living. In multidimensional poverty, these are the kind of things to look for. Let me say in health, you're looking at nutrition, in education, you're looking at years of schooling, school attendance, in living standards, You're looking at the cooking fuel, sanitation, drinking water, electricity, housing, assets, and many stuff like this. Some households, even in a world that is looking so advanced and digital as this, are still making use of um wood charcoal for their cooking. That's a serious level of poverty. Some don't have the money to afford clean good sanitation or clean drinking water. Even the animals or domestic animals they keep at home end up taking in dirty water from the streets. These are all examples of poverty. Now, why the SDGs should matter to you? The no poverty SDGs should matter to you. Poverty is the root goal. See, if we fix this, every other goal from health to education becomes so much easier to reach. Some professions that intersect with the no poverty SDGs, for example, the fashion student, poverty is woven into the very fabric of the industry. Many garment workers in the, let me say, for example, the global south live below the extreme poverty line. That's less than $2.15 per day. Your design choices and supply chain knowledge can end exploitative labor. You now that is sitting in your household hearing this podcast today, if you are in the fashion industry and you decide to stand up today and make your design choices, supply chain knowledge, it can end exploitative labor. That is a sustainable career in fashion, ensuring that everybody who is working under you can afford to send their children to school. In other words, ensuring that the person who sold this garment I'm wearing today can afford to send their child to school. It's not that they spend their whole energy, their whole strength, creativity to put into a garment, and at the end of the day, they are paid less than what they deserve, or not even up to. That's very bad. It's common in the farmers world, and most times also in the fashion world and so many other areas of human influence. Again, the healthcare professional, poverty is a medical condition. It leads to malnutrition, lack of sanitation, and medical debt, which keeps families in a circle of lack. Treating a patient is only half the battle. Understanding their socio-economic barrier ensures that they don't return to the hospital next week. And this is very important. As a healthcare professional, this is trying to say that you do not just care about the treating. Like, a patient walks into your hospital and you just treat them right away. Kudos, that's very good. That's the reason you spent years in school, to get them back to their health. But do you know that if they go back to their household, and let me say the specific thing causing that sickness, let me say the clean water, they don't live in a good environment, or lack of light that is causing maybe skin like heat and causing reactions in the skin. If you end up treating that patient and you don't inquire about their social economic barriers, like what is the main cause, ask them personally what is the main cause, because from what you know as a medical doctor you can determine, oh, this is what is causing this. But if you could ask them personally what is the main cause of this, or present the causes to them, then ask them which of this is your problem, then look for ways to solve it for them one way or the other. I bet you that they may not return to that hospital for the same reason. So this is why when we are advocating for the no poverty, everybody is part of the deal. No profession is exempted, nobody is exempted. As we move forward in this legacy episode, we are going to see the reason why I said it, because I'm going to be giving you both actions that you can take within the next 24 hours, the next 30 days, and for a long term to be part of the no poverty, a world of no poverty for the prosperity of everyone. Also, whether you are the stay-at-home parent or home cook, you are literally the manager of local consumption. Choosing fair trade products and reducing your household waste shifts economic power back to small-scale producers who are often on the brink of poverty. If you are a tech startup founder, financial exclusion is a primary driver of poverty. Um, you can come up with apps that simplify microloans. You provide the tools. Doing this, you provide the tools for economic mobility. That is, that your code can be the bridge that connects a rural farmer to a global marketplace. Officially, the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) 1, no poverty, created by the United Nations, has targets of what these goals are trying to achieve, like to eradicate extreme poverty. This is stopping people from having to survive on virtually nothing. In 2026, the UN measured this as living on less than $3 per day. Imagine trying to pay for your food, water, clothes, or shelter, struggling to pay for them every single day. This target aims to make sure that you don't have to struggle to do this every single day. Reduce poverty by half. This target is trying to say that poverty looks different in every country. Whatever your country is, wherever you are, let's cut that number by half in your nation. Let's say in a wealthy city, poverty might mean you can't afford an internet connection for school. In a rural village for another person, it might mean the person don't have a floor in a house where they can sleep or lay their head, or don't even have a shelter at all. This goal aims to meet achieving the Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) 1, reducing poverty by half, aims to reach every people where they are. Social protection system, that is building a system where when people fall, they bounce back instead of hitting the bottom. That is when someone was thriving well, then maybe goes short or bankrupt of a business or company or whatever they were doing, they have so many conditions that help them to bounce back to even better ways than they were, instead of landing at the bottom and even becoming as nothing. Think of unemployment benefits, pensions for the elderly, or maternity leaves. It's a promise that even if you lose your job or get sick today, you won't lose your home. Equal rights to resources, that is access for all. Give everyone the same tools to succeed regardless of their age, gender, or background, regardless of their nation, of their cultural beliefs or religious beliefs. As in some places, some women self are not even allowed to own a land without their husband's permission. These targets of equal rights to resources or access for all is ensuring everyone has a debit card, a land title, a smartphone to their name. Build resilience. Make sure the poor don't lose everything when disaster hits. The little community they are managing or the housing, when a flood or natural disaster or whatever happens there, they don't have to lose everything. In fact, they have to get even better, be transported to better places to live with better facilities and infrastructure, and not to leave them to go out on the streets and look for people they may never find. That is why everyone acting on the SDGs, no poverty, is very important because you may never know who you go out there to meet, and you may never know the kind of help that is going to save their life the next minute or the next day. When a flood hits a wealthy person, for example, insurance has to fix everything. A poor person might have to lose their entire livelihood. So we have to make sure that there are flood-proof housing and climate insurance even for small households. Some of the ways the implementation of these targets under the Sustainable Development Goals. One, no poverty is to mobilize resources. Come on, people, nations, you, organizations um need to help a struggling business, a struggling citizen by providing the initial tools and training rather than just giving them a one-time gift or just making laws with no action. Governments have to write, even go ahead to write laws that can actually help the people at the bottom, not just the people at the top. For example, instead of a law that gives tax breaks to keep big corporations, a pro-poor policy might give a tax break to any company that hires and trains people from low-income neighborhoods. You give those companies, those initiatives or foundations tax break rather than giving them to big corporations or startups only. So I have a question for you. If you lose your phone today, your bank account was frozen, or you had no home address for about 30 days, how many of these targets would you suddenly need to survive? So I need you to see how important the no poverty goal. Let's take the case study for today, the digital bridge in Bangladesh. Source: United Nations DESA SDG Good Practices. In Dhaka, Bangladesh, the Vulnerable Group Development (VGD) program transformed how aid reached the poorest women. Previously, critical cash or food transfers were prone to loss or leakage. What was the action? The government implemented a mobile-based social protection system. What was the result? Over 1 million women received direct digital transfers to their own mobile wallets. This did not just provide aid, it provided financial identity. These women began using their mobile wallets to save small amounts, start micro businesses like poultry farming, and pay for their children's school fees digitally. What is the lesson for you? That poverty is not just a lack of money, it is a lack of access. For this case, technology just turned a global target into a personal tool. Now let's move over to your call to action. So eager to let you know because this is also a major reason for the legacy podcast to get you moving on your feet from a change in heart through the knowledge you now have. Let's solve your awareness action gap or your action paralysis towards the SDGs. One, the no poverty. Now breathe in. Ah. First off, for the first 24 hours, these are how to make immediate changes for a good impact towards achieving no poverty for a prosperous world for everyone. You can say yes today or from today onwards to a if a cashier asks to add a little money for the hunger fund, yes, you can say yes. Stop the stigma, commit to not using lazy stereotypes when discussing poverty. For example, when people blame others for being poor or hate on others for being poor, just pouring out all the blame on the poor person. No, we should stop this stigma today. You can start packing a blessing bag, so to say, water, socks, school stuff, food stuff, clothes for someone on the street. Those children you see running around the streets every day, they are not for street decoration. They are for you to pack some of your clothes, some of the food you have, and lend to them or even ask to pay their school fees. You can also check your clothes um and exchange it with your friends instead of throwing them away, because you may never know the friend that has been eyeing those clothes you have been wearing. I really want to have them for yourself. So you can host an exchange meeting and say you want to give out your clothes instead of throwing them off. Now you can educate yourself. From today onwards, read about the no poverty or the other sustainable development goals you are interested in from the United Nations official website. Read about the targets, what these goals are actually trying to achieve, and know where you can come in massively. Once you have already started practicing this household habit, you see how so much easier it will be for you to actually say, oh, I want to stand on a global platform, or I want to become a global name that is solving children's school fees, maybe through my foundation or housing orphans and so on. You can also go through your bank account today and ask yourself, does your bank invest in people and sustainable development or sustainable practices, or does it invest in exploitative or illegal industries? At dinner, you can discuss, ask your family, what does enough look like for us? That is, you have already started to change, to have a change of mindset. Oh, that this level is a level that you are supposed to be moved, like you are supposed to move from this level by now. A change in mentality. When your eyes open, it's possible that every other action you do will be a very, very targeted action to move you away from that thing you think that um does not is not part should not be part of you anymore. These are some of the things you can do within these 24 hours to eradicate poverty. Imagine if in a community or in a nation that is housing about 300 million citizens, that 100 million every day are practicing even one of these habits daily, on a daily basis. Think any poor person out there will actually complain of being poor or be lacking daily food, because today someone is giving out, another day another person is giving out, today someone is giving, another person is giving out. So I want you to realize that when we say no poverty for all, it is not, you should stop from today to stop looking at it as an impossible target. It is possible through your household habits, and this is why the Legacy podcast is here for you. Moving on things that you can do within 24 hours to ensure that poverty is eradicated. Now, don't look at your neighbor and say your neighbor is not doing. Start first. It's possible that your neighbor can see you doing it and follow suit. And also, you share your actions and let me see who those actions will not inspire to do more. The no poverty goal looks unachievable because literally everyone is relaxed. literally everyone is blaming somebody or blaming the poor people, blaming people that don't have, that is their fault and stuff like that. So, like I've mentioned, we need to stop the stigma and actually move our actions in good ways that these things will be eradicated from the very foundations. You can sign a petition, support legislation for a fair minimum wage in your community. For example, in nation Nigeria where I am, our minimum wage was recently changed from I think 30 to 32,000 to 66,000 naira now. So when they are talking about minimum wage, just don't just relax and say it's not a problem. You should sign whatever petition you're asked to sign, come out to advocate and make sure that that minimum wage is signed for the good of the whole citizen. Cancel any unsolved data, redirect that $10 monthly or that whatever currency you are using, redirect those data that end up wasting. Start to calculate your data self, so to say. Know how much you literally spend in a month and remove all those extra data money that always remains and ends up expiring, and put it in and offer it to a charity donation. Also, you can offer a skill, post on your WhatsApp contact that you offer 1 hour of free consulting or teaching the knowledge that you have, whether in the tech or the industry, fashion industry, whatever industry you are from, you can offer to teach another person that knowledge. You can also contact a local representative about affordable housing in your area, especially when you know that the person may be struggling to find one. Share a story, post a fact about this particular episode that you are hearing today. Yes, share it to someone. Let them know that the Legacy Podcast is this, and it gives out very simple ways for us to eradicate poverty in the world today. You can also buy local, purchase your next meal from a small scale vendor. You must not always look for those ones with the big tag price. If everyone runs away from local vendors, who will support the small scale farmers that they may even see on the street and call them poor? They are poor because their most of their goods are not being bought, or they are not getting what they deserve, the amount of finances they deserve from their hard work, and so many other reasons. You can also download and start using saving banking app that rounds up your change for charity. Donate it to charity at the end of every 1 month, 2 months, or however months you think best. Then again, you can open your social media and follow no poverty advocates or activists, people that you see advocating for no poverty, organizations that you see helping to eradicate hunger, foundations that you see helping the needy. You can open your social media. When you see their adverts, don't just scroll past it. Open it, tap on it. If you don't want to follow their page to avoid their updates filling your feed, you can click on their sites and donate to them. Finish. That's the most one of the most important things to them, because as long as they are donating, many people are being fed. And also box up your non-perishable goods and drop them at a community fridge or a food vendor to help and feed others cheaper. You can download an SDG app to track your progress and impact. Um, I know the Legacy Podcast has not reached this level yet. We are here to give you the information that gets you moving for action. But there are SDG apps that help you track keep track of your progress and impact, like the Samsung Global Goals or the Act Now app. So you can get that on Play Store, or if you have a Samsung phone specifically, it's always installed there. Can you see that by doing all this, you are already part of, you're already a change maker for the no poverty for all? Do you still think the global goals are not your personal goals or should not be your personal goals? So let's move ahead. For the next 30 days, these are also what you can make to become your household habit to achieve the no poverty for all. And I'll always say this, just imagine if, let's say, how many billion people are in the world today? I think about 7, 10 billion. Have we reached 10 billion people? Let's just say about 50% of the world population is practicing um a sustainable development goals, like as a daily habit, like how, like some of these um habits that we have mentioned, and also which other goals that have their own household habits or little actions or steps to take. Just imagine half of the population in their different ways, in their different capacities, are practicing the sustainable development goals. Just imagine the kind of world it will be. So this is why the Legacy Podcast is insisting and will always be here till we see that every household is on their feet concerning the sustainable development goals. So for the next 30 days, these are some of the actions you can take to make impact towards the no poverty goal. You can start reduce food waste to save money, start to reduce your food, the amount of food you waste, and donate the surplus. If you open your fridge or your food stuff and you look at, oh, I'll be now traveling for the next 1 week or next 1 month, this food stuff, by the time I come back they may be expired, or I may not really feel like eating them again, but going to supermarket to get new fresh ones. Why don't you pack all those things and give it to, donate it, donate it to an orphanage, or donate it, enter one of the streets and give it to the children there. They will definitely take it back to their parents or home, and they will eat as a family before they rest their head and open for the new day. You can mentor a student, start mentorship programs to give out the knowledge you have to low income students, people that cannot afford to pay for your master classes or your or digital knowledge. They cannot afford to pay for it, or they don't even know how to go about it at all. You can start mentoring them on how to go about it, and also how to hop in on the trend. You can start to collect school supplies for a local underfunded classroom. That is, you can organize to fund students that cannot get their basic schooling needs. You can also volunteer, spend one Saturday or one morning at a homeless shelter or house or kitchen, in their kitchen, to cook for the children there, and just help out. You can buy what we call the ugly produce. It's not at every local farm you see you reject those fruits that are not looking perfect. You can support farmers by buying the less perfect fruits, because those perfect, imperfect, less perfect, they are all money, hard work speaking. So if you say you will buy only the perfect ones that probably it was not even the farmer fault that others may not be perfect. Are you now saying that the farmer gain should only gain from the perfect fruits? What if a summation of all those imperfect and less perfect are actually his gain? Why those perfect, let's just say for example, those the money gotten from those perfect ones are just the cost of production. You see how it looks like farmers are getting poorer every day. So you can change this your habit today and start buying those fruits or local products that are not really perfect. I'm not saying you should go and buy the ones that are spoiled or that will harm your body systems, but you know what I'm talking about. There are ones that are still buyable. You should not completely resist on buying them because that's the farmer's hard work and money at hand. You can start putting your spare change, like I've said, in a monthly uh, for a monthly donation to charity, or giving that your friend you know that may be in need or is struggling. You can save through app or save manually, digital apps or manual. If you are a CEO, you can start to review your company policy. Tell your HR to, ask your HR about your company's living wage standard. That is the salary you are paying your workers even up to the living wage, or even if it's up to the living wage, how what is the distance the what is different amount between it and the living wage. If it's a lead to them, is you know that they are actually really really struggling to survive. You can start to support a minority owned business, commit some of your salary or earnings to a business that you know that is just starting to grow, or a new startup. This way you are literally trying to eradicate poverty in all its forms, or in that particular form. You can start your own farm, your backyard, to start producing goods, feed yourself, feed your community, or join a community of farmers and start to provide free materials or farming materials to them. Then again, start to repair, don't replace. Fix your shoes or electronics to you. This is by fixing and not just replacing. You are helping the small scale, let me say plumber, phone technician. By fixing them, you are helping their little low income job. You must not say any of my things that spoil, you just throw it. No, start to repair them from today onwards. Just know that for every repair, you're actually helping someone eat a daily food. Start, if you are good in financial literacy, start to teach your neighbor. Help a younger person to understand their budget, to plan their budget. Also start to make use of public infrastructures like transportation. That is literally daddies or mommies out every day to fend for their children's school fees. If you say you don't want to make use of public transportation, how will they be fed? I know that almost all, like a good percentage of the world, makes use of public transportation, and you can see that the drivers of public people who do public transit are actually in the money, but they are not there yet. So you can start to even ask of their needs and provide them with their children's school fees, because that daily drive is them struggling to get food on the table for their family. You can start writing a blog post, share what you have learned about today's on the no poverty sustainable development goals, how you are motivated to start making a change. I have already started. Record your changes or your impact, not to showcase, but to inspire another person to action. One of the things that moves people today is motivation. Once people are motivated, they can literally do anything. And if everybody relax or start hiding all their little goodness, how will others or how will the world be motivated? Literally, people will be thinking that their neighbor is bad or nobody is good out there. But when almost everyone is sharing their goodness, we'll be forced to see that, oh, the world is actually a better place. You can start to voice out your support for in your local community or town hall for better infrastructure, electricity, transportation and so on. Don't see them having those town hall meetings and mock them and say what are they doing. Maybe if you tell your village you have not gone in a while, you just neglect them. Look for ways you can even move that their voice to the city, people in charge in the city, and let them know that this is what they are passing through in your village or any other place. It must not be your. Also, if you're a worker at your workplace, you can encourage your boss that once in a month or in 2 months, you guys should go on a volunteer visit, help the whole office to an orphanage or anywhere possible that will be part of eradicating poverty. You know that these people are not living under on the full living wage living standard. So these are some of the things you can do for the next um 30 days. Progressively plan yourself, and you are part of the person making the world a better place, and most importantly, achieving the no poverty sustainable development goals. Poverty, what you can do in a long term. Let's just say these are systematic or professional changes. If you're a CEO or you're aspiring CEO, you have to become one. Can you add this to your goals? Hire from marginalized communities. You must not hire from people that are coming from abroad or people from very wealthy or that were educated so well. You can hire from marginalized communities so that they can be able to feed their family, their home. What a person don't know, they don't know it. So you can actually choose to, when you bring them, mentor them, educate them, show them how it's done. So no one is telling you to put an employment workforce that may not progress your business, but you can choose to support these families by taking in one or two of their household into your company or your organization or your foundation and let them learn. While they are learning, they are being paid and they are also working. You can start scholarship programs. You can start it that small scale or large scale scholarship programs for fully funded for low income families or students or even let's say educated elders. Let me say people that have stopped in their masters but they cannot go ahead with their PhD. They are earning good, but the funds to gathering funds for that PhD may take years. You can actually come in through a scholarship program or through a friend, as a friend or as someone who just wants to help and help them out. You can start policy advocacy, join a board or community or programs focused on poverty reduction, advocating for policies that can eradicate poverty in all its form in every nation is a very good way to start from your nation, but you must not be tied up to a nation. You can extend your reach and advocate for everyone in every nation in any way you can to be free from poverty. You can ensure that your business, your company, or your foundation is paying the minimum wage. You can ensure that you can restructure your business, your earnings, the profit the business make to start paying your workers the minimum wage. Invest in infrastructure, support programs, organization, whether governmental or non-governmental, that help in building public housing, transportation. The roads are not only for the government to build. You as a private individual entity, you can take up, you can go to the government and ask to build this community road. Nobody is going to stop you. In fact, on the day of their launch, you will invite, of the road launch, you invite them. They are literally going to come and show up there. So let's not move some of these things to only government. You as a private earner can do it. You can start collaborative innovation, that partner with startups in your country or developing countries to provide services that are not only helping the rich masses but also the poor masses. You can turn your waste into a resource for others. You can also, let me say, for example, if you're a fashion designer or you're a those things that you're supposed to with, let me say, some of those foods or whatever you have, you can look for ways to convert them to far to perish goods and give it to other families. Let me say, if you are sewing and fragments of material still remain, you know that literally you may not be using this for any of your paying clothes. You can bring those materials together, sew these clothes and give to the children on your street. They don't look at what you are giving them, whether it's fine or not. You know you are supposed to sew it well, but they are not looking at, like someone that is already advanced or living in the city. Oh, this color is not rhyming, that one is not rhyming. The important thing for them is that they are wearing a clothes and they are able to go to school with those clothes that they are wearing, or outing, or stay at home. If you're a farmer, you can turn your almost perished goods into fruit juice, bottle it immediately, and go and share it to your street people. Because you know that once you carry that in and hit market, it's nobody will buy it. And even so, it might end up spoiling in your farm. Then you start blaming whoever you want to blame that you're not earning well. Why don't you start your goodness right away by turning those foods that are almost to spoilage into um drinkable immediate drinks that will help a child or a family out there. Then again, for the actions that you can do for a long term, or also called professional changes, you can start digital, that's what we call digital inclusion. Donate your old laptops or your old phones to people who need it, to schools. You must not throw them away or just go and dump them with someone repairing it and you never even come back to check back on it because you just bought a new one. You can donate those laptops to someone in need. You can start learning a local dialect to communicate with marginalized groups. You can start giving out health insurance to your staff. If you employ a nanny, a cleaner, a gardener, you can start making sure that their hospital bills are covered, or whatever problem they have, just look for one thing to solve. And if you have enough financial um capacity, solve it for a long term, but teach them how to make more earning that they are doing. It will really go a long way for them. You can also start to research candidates that stand on social protection systems that protecting people that are from low income families or low income earners or people living in a marginalized area. That is a place that has not been developed or is underdeveloped or is still developing. You can start to help people from those areas and make sure that they are living good, whether in the aspect of their clothing or their food or their shelter, and importantly, try to share what you are doing with others or your friends so that it will stay in their heart. So that when they see a situation like that, as they step out, they will be encouraged to help. Empower women. Statistics show that women invest 90% of their income to their families. You see, giving a woman money is literally giving the whole family because she will come back with it and feed the whole children, even probably feed the husband if the husband is not earning well, or put it into the little business she's doing. So you can empower women whether through giving out, let me say if she's a fashion designer or a tailor, you can give out machines that she would have taken her years to save up money for it. If she's a cook, you can get her cooking gas, flask, coolers that will help her start up her own cooking business and so many things like that. This also applies to men. If you see a man struggling to rise or looking for connection of a supplier or to start a business and you have that connection, don't just stand and be looking. Whether you're even hearing it out of a phone call, you don't know the person at all, help out that person. When we are talking about all these daily household habits, we're not talking about doing it to people you know or only people you know. We're talking about in every situation that you see it. As long as you can help, you can help. The only you should help. The only time you are exempted is where you're already doing some sort of deed and you keep finding yourself in that situation and you are short, like you can't help anymore because you're already directing most of those to so many other helping so many other people. You cannot help the whole world. So as long as you're already helping the a set of people, or you already, let me say you already involved in a scholarship program, you're helping others and you keep on meeting students that don't even have the scholarship, the best you can do is to refer them to your friends that may be able to help them, or even try to post them if anybody could help them. So in everything, your peace should be prioritized. You should not um rob yourself of all your finances because you want to help everybody at the same time. You should keep enough for yourself so that you save up, bounce back, or come even higher and help more people at the same time. That is why everybody doing this is so important. A good amount of population doing it is so important. Small population cannot be doing it and will be seeing the effect. If most populations are doing it, nobody will be going to bed hungry. So this is why advocating for the sustainable development goals is so important and working towards it. Action. Action. If everybody is taking even 10 actions a day, the world will be a better place. You can start sharing skills workshops, like hold monthly classes for your community men or women that may need a specific skills, whether plumbing, whether phone repair, whether electricals, those mini parts where you know that they can easily do for their neighbor or their community and get paid a token. This will help them be sustained. You can study the no poverty topic in your area and join the conversation. Join the conversation in any way you can. We have come to the end of today's legacy, the no poverty. As we close this chapter on the no poverty, remember this. The Sustainable Development Goals are not a menu where you have to choose what to care about and what not to care about. These are a blueprint, literally a roadmap for a world that works for everyone. Poverty is not an accident of nature. It is as a result of systems we have built, and this means it is something we can also dismantle. Today you have heard how to move from action paralysis to action progress. You have seen that no poverty isn't just a giant global target. It is the decision to pay a fair wage, the choice to mentor a student, and the courage to advocate for safety in your own community. The global gap closes the moment you realize that your role, whether you are in a boardroom, a classroom, a kitchen, a house, wherever you are, matters. We do not need few people to be doing the SDGs perfectly. We need millions of people, billions of people turning these goals into household habits. Let's see how the world will not be a better place. You now have your knowledge, you know your role. Now go out and do your action, because a world with no poverty is not just better for the poor, it is a more stable, creative, and prosperous world for all of us. This can be your legacy, so get to work. Stay tuned to the Legacy Podcast